From aliens found in several locations to preserved mummies and living humanoids, there are numerous mysteries that exist in the world, and some of them can be found right in the heart of Russia. Here are some of Russia's secrets that are so unbelievable you won't believe your eyes. Number 1. The viral frozen alien found in Serbia. Imagine scrolling through your phone and seeing a video captioned, "Dead alien discovered in UFO hotspot in Russia." Upon opening it, you see 2 Russian guys discovering what looks like a dead alien in a snowy field in Irakat, Serbia, close to a tree stump. In the video, the extraterrestrial appears 2 to 3 feet tall, with a big head and long slender arms. Although there are various indications that this video is a fraud, they were most likely holding a rubber doll. The first is the technique used to film the scene, which is a common technique used in filmmaking to give the audience a suspicious hint as to where the scene is located. As soon as the friend of the cameraman is seen nearby, the handheld camera pans to a snowy ditch that leads to what seems to be a small alien species. The scene doesn't fit because the Russian-speaking actors can be heard laughing, and their voices don't sound like they just found a real alien body. The alien is followed by the camera along a snowy trench, which points to a possible spacecraft collision. It appears as though one of its leg has been severed. The alien's near-perfect resemblance to well-known alien movie images prompts questions. Whatever you decide, you are free to express your opinion. We'll proceed to the petrified animal mummy that was discovered in the woods next. By the end of the Ice Age, many charismatic giant mammals had gone extinct, including the steppe bison and the bison priscus. However, one of these bison were discovered in eastern Siberia frozen. The entire frozen mummy of a steppe bison, dating to 9,300 years before the present, was found in the Yana Inajurka lowland. A necropsy was conducted to understand more about how this animal lived and perished at the end of the Ice Age. Despite some of its organs having significantly shrunk over time, the Ukajur bison mummy still had a fully functioning heart, brain, digestive system, and blood vessels. The necropsy on this unusual mummy showed a relatively normal anatomy and no immediate cause of death. The absence of abdominal fat in the animal may have caused it to starve to death, according to researchers. The Ukajur bison mummy is one of 2 adult specimens that are being kept in frozen conditions and is the 3rd of 4 complete mummies of this species that have been found in the world. This makes this discovery extremely important. I don't know what else to say if this isn't a little chilling and unbelievable. The blue light of Lake Baikal is another discovery, the largest freshwater lake in the world by volume. Lake Baikal is also known as the Blue Eye of Serbia, the Holy See, and the diamond of the planet because of its exceptional features. It is clear and pure, and the amount of minerals and salts in it is so low that the water is almost distilled. The world's deepest lake, Lake Baikal, includes ice circles that may have a cause, according to a group of scientists from several Russian universities and one in France. About 20 years ago, scientists discovered growing ice circles in several Lake Baikal regions during the spring and summer. They could only be observed by satellites or aircraft. They initially believed that methane bubbles rising from below had caused them to form, but tests later disproved this. Further research, however, showed that the ice rings were not only seen in Lake Baikal, but also in Mongolia's Lake Teleskoy and Lake Havskol. These sightings suggest that they can be found in the majority of deep winter frozen lakes. However, they remain a mystery. The team discovered a potential hint in February 2016 when they saw that an eddy had developed in the water below the ice circle and that its water was warmer than the water nearby. The formation of water eddies and temperature variations from surrounding water, according to experts, are what caused ice rings to form. They claim to have seen the eddy before a process appeared over it, yet they were unable to explain why the eddies were developing. Next on our list is a strange radio frequency in St. Petersburg. A Russian swampland has a rectangular iron gate in the middle of it. Beyond its rusting bars, a dry stone wall surrounds a collection of radio towers, abandoned buildings, and power lines. Here, a mystery dates back to the height of the Cold War centers on this terrifying place. It is believed to be the administrative center for the fictitious radio station MDZHB. It has been emitting a dreary, monotonous tone for the past 3.5 decades, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A second sound sounds like a ghostly ship blowing its foghorn. A man or woman will read a few Russian words such as dinghy or agricultural specialist once or twice a week. Everyone can tune their radio to the frequency of 4625 kilohertz and listen in. It has been created with conspiracy theorists in mind. Thousands of people follow the station online and they call it the buzzer with affection. It joins the pip and the squeaky wheel and acknowledges the need for knowledge. Though not acknowledged by the government, it is thought that the Russian military is the owner. It began broadcasting when communism was fading after the Cold War. These days, it is broadcast from 2 locations, one near Moscow and one in St. Petersburg. Strangely, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the station's activity increased noticeably rather than ceasing. There are many ideas for the possible uses for the buzzer, including corresponding with extraterrestrials and maintaining contact with submarines. One of these hypotheses contends that the drone acts as a dead hand signal that would immediately begin retaliation if Russia were to come under a nuclear attack. No questions asked, just complete nuclear annihilation on both sides, and might not be as absurd as it seems. The technology was first developed in the Soviet Union, where it was implemented as a computer system that searched the airwaves for signals of life or nuclear fallout. Unsettlingly, many specialists think it's still in use. How about you? Last on our list is the Kaisden Dwarf. A strange scene occurred in July of 1996 in the small Ural city of Kaisden, east of Moscow. Tamara Proservierna, a retired woman, was strolling down the street while conversing with something that was wrapped in a blanket. The locals remember her saying, "It's my baby, Alexenka," short for Alexei, but never showing it. Alexei was Proservierna's son, but she was considered crazy because she was talking to a toy, mistaking it for her son. Proservierna did have mental health concerns a few months later. She was referred to a clinic for schizophrenia treatment, yet the object wrapped in a blanket wasn't a toy. It was a real animal she had discovered in the woods close to a well. Alexenka was described by many who saw it as a 20 to 25 centimeter tall humanoid. Alexenka was spotted in Proservierna's apartment by Tamara Nomova, who later described him to Komsomolzia Prava as having a brown body, no hair, large projecting eyes, twitching its little lips, and making squeaky sounds. He didn't even appear to be human, with his body shaped like an onion. Different locals have given different accounts. For instance, Vyacheslav Nagolsky said that the dwarf had blue eyes and was hairy. Another of Proservierna's friend, Nina Glaznerna, pointed out hair and said he was standing over the bed with wide eyes. Others claimed that the humanoid had no hair. According to locals interviewed for journalist filmmaker Andrei Loshik's documentary, The Kaisden Dwarf, maybe Alexenka was an extraterrestrial humanoid, but in this instance, he made a mistake landing in Kaisden. It makes sense that the 3,700-person city would be more nirvana. Even the local inebriates are being disregarded. Kaisden experienced the first nuclear accident in Soviet history in 1957. The 160-ton concrete top was launched into the air like a plutonium blast at the nearby Mayak Convert atomic power station. The 2 nuclear disasters that killed the most people in recorded history are Chernobyl in 1986 and Fukushima in 2011. There are a lot of pollution in both the area and the neighborhood. Lushik claims that the fishermen have snagged fish without eyes or fins. As a result, another generally accepted theory was that Alexenka was a mutant human exposed to radiation. However, after the physicians took Proservierna, the Kaisden Dwarf perished without anybody to feed him. After Proservierna disappeared, a friend discovered the body and turned it into sort of a mummy by washing it with spirit and drying it, according to a local newspaper. Afterward, the man was apprehended for cable theft and turned the body over to the police. The body of Alexenka was taken away from the thief by Bendlin, a local police officer who kept it in its freezer until he could not prove or disprove his extraterrestrial heritage. He then gave the dwarf's body to ufologists who seized it and never returned it. After that, Alexenka's tracks vanished altogether, leading to a more than 20-year search by journalists. Although we have seen several stories like these, some are pretty unbelievable and one can see reason in others. However, our individual opinions matter most. So tell me your thoughts and theories on them.